Greetings and welcome to Rasta Lifeline. This is Sister Ayla Hadis, and I'm coming to you from my new channel, Rasta Lifeline, on YouTube instead of the old channel under Ayla Designs. So it's been a while since I've posted videos, and that's mainly because I've been very busy with business. I am basically the manufacturer, the social media person, the mail lady. I do everything myself. So time as business has increased and gotten more busy, it's just hard for me to keep up with everything that I originally started out doing, especially when it comes to balancing homeschool, home life, business, and blogging and social media. And personally, I'm not much of a social media person. I guess I'm an introvert, and it has become harder to keep up with putting myself out there and being consistent with that. So one of my goals moving forward into 2022, where Rasta Lifeline will be celebrating 10 years, is to revive the blog and revive the YouTube, because of course the videos had very poor sound and audio and visuals. So I'm hoping to improve upon that. And I've had Sistren over the years and in recent times especially send me a message saying, what's going on, why are you not posting, it's been a long time, we miss seeing you. And to those who know you've done that, thank you for reminding me that I'm still relevant and my voice is still something that you wish to hear, and I really give thanks for that. So this is for you, and I'll really try to do better and come out of my shell a little more. So this first video is of course redoing some of my older videos, and this one focuses mainly on Rastafari marriage. That is gonna be the first topic that I'm gonna tackle. This first video will be centered on things that you should consider before you decide that you're gonna marry someone, whether marriage is defined as going to the Orthodox Church and doing a ceremony, or doing a ceremony in your camp or your gathering area, or whether it's marriage just as in moving in together and forming a home and a family. And especially that part of it, things to consider before you actually have a child with someone, because in Rastafari many of us tend to jump into that aspect of it pretty early on. My king man and I were together for barely a year before we had our princess. So our early life was hard. We had a lot of struggles, and we weren't able to really see eye to eye. And I think what made it harder is because I left my home to move to his home, a different country, so I didn't really have my family support. And I don't think people realize how important it is to have other people that support you and that you can rely on for guidance or just support in having children and that kind of thing. I mean, I've had it. My mother always comes and visits. My brother has visited. My sister, my friends, cousins, they visited. But it's not the same when you can have that person there at any moment's notice. So I'm gonna be reading, kind of made a note on my Word document, so I won't be looking directly at the camera, but coming into Rastafari, it's wonderful when you meet someone who you can talk to about this new liberty, and who inspires you to trod the path. My king man and I had that synthesis from the very beginning where we were just like best friends, and it's so important that you have that person that you can vibe with. And he was in the liberty for much longer than I was at the time, but I knew that's what I wanted. So for me, it was a real boon to my growth that I had someone who was so knowledgeable and who could expose me to Rastafari as a liberty, because when I started out, I was in Canada and there were no Rastas on campus where I went to school, and there wasn't that one-on-one guidance. And the internet, even though I read things online, there was nothing geared towards a Rasta woman's liberty and experience, which is why I started Rasta Wife Line, because I thought it was necessary for other sistren to have that help that I didn't have until I moved to Trinidad. And it's so important to have others who can give you their experience and can just share with you the knowledge that they've learned. They can point you to the right books to read. They can take you to gatherings. Those are the things that I cherished most as a young woman. I was around 21, 22 when I started to grow my locks. So I hope that Rasta Wife Line can continue to be that for sistren and also brethren. So while you meet this person and you have that synthesis, and there's the attraction, of course, physical attraction, there's hopefully the mental attraction more than anything. But does that mean that you actually have what it takes to sustain a marriage? Do you actually have what it takes to be with this person on a long-term scale? Because you mustn't mix up a mentor with a mate. You know, it's good when you can get both, but sometimes it's not necessarily that you get both. So you have to be able to really make the right choices before you just decide, okay, we're going to live together, we're having children. You know, there must be some kind of planning, take your time to really get to know this person. And it is important too, when considering that you're going to marry someone or build a life with someone, it's important to take time to prepare your own self mentally, physically, spiritually. You know, it's important that you can sustain your part of this union. And you must think of it in terms of the bigger picture. It's not just you and him, or you and her, and how you feel about one another. It's also that you are forming a unit which is a family unit that will reproduce, and it must thrive, and it must give abundantly, not just uplifting Rastafari as a culture, but also sending that positive liberty into our atmosphere, our entire planet. We want to raise the vibrations. So when you're with someone, it's not just about you and them. You're part of a greater energy, and it's important that you can sustain that and keep it positive. And the law of attraction really works. What you put out there, you receive. So you put the good vibes out there and you will get the good vibes back. So I'm going to present some thoughts that you should just consider before you actually take that 100% deep dive into a life together. What do you have to consider before you build and strengthen a relationship? First, every marriage starts with a strong foundation, and that comes from your unity as man and woman. But that unity has to have balance and harmony. And for that to happen, you yourself as an individual, you have to have balance and harmony in your own person. So the first step towards that is that you need to deal with your own baggage first. While forming a new relationship, you can actually share that with someone, that healing process or cleansing process, but it's not their job to deal with your drama and your past and your trauma. the drama and the trauma. It's not their job to make you whole. You have to work on that yourself. Someone can help you, but it's you that has to change your behavior. It's you that has to forgive yourself. It's you that has to leave the past in the past. It's you that has to cut the cord. It's you that has to realize where you went wrong. You're the one that is responsible for your attitude, how you speak, how you talk to people, how you act around others, the things that you spend your time doing. All of these things, it's your responsibility as a person. So you're bringing yourself into a relationship. So you have to know really who you are, and are you stable? Are you happy? While it is great to have someone who can add to that, you still have to have stability within yourself, right? You are responsible for your own growth and your own spiritual development as much as you might share it with someone else. So you have to take responsibility for your baggage. You have to take responsibility for your insecurities and your shortcomings. And you must learn what worked in the past and what won't work for you now that you are starting on this path of Rastafari, or whether or not you're starting or you're in Rastafari. It's a big part of being Rasta that we live with that example of His Majesty Haile Selassie and Her Majesty Empress Menen Asfaw. They are a benchmark for how we should live our lives and how we should treat others, and the kind of attitude that we should have, which is to be disciplined and to be hardworking, to be loving, to care about others, to have compassion. These are important qualities that we learn from King Alpha and Queen Omega. So who you are in the past is not necessarily who you should be in the future. We all change as we learn more, and Rastafari really reinforces that. Whether or not you use scripture in your daily living, there's a lot of scripture like the Psalms and the Proverbs and the New Testament, which speaks on the good qualities that we should have. So basically, it's important that you yourself should be in a headspace and a heart space where you can give yourself what you need, first of all, so that you can in turn give it to someone else. Give it to that partner that you're choosing to live your life with, because your relationship is just that, it's new, right? So you have to think of it as like a new home. You have a new beautiful blank shell of a house, a perfect empty space where you want to fill it with all the things that will give you that new beginning that you want. So you can't bring all of your old funky junk from the past. You can't bring your broken furniture. You can't bring your bad caretaking habits with you into this new space. This is a fresh start, so you want to furnish it with things that are clean and bright and beautiful. You want to be able to take care of them properly. You want to make it last. You want this house, this home to endure. So you yourself as a caretaker, you must be equipped to ensure that this house becomes a home. You want a partner also who values this new space and who is willing to work with you as a team in making it a place of comfort, stability, joy, pleasure, spirituality. You want to choose someone who will respect this new space, because this is what your marriage is. It's a new space, it's a new home, it's a new world that you're cultivating. And you have to leave your old baggage at the door. You have to leave it in the past. Your new partner is not responsible for that, for the people that hurt you in the past or the old wounds from the past. But if you are starting over with your ex and you're taking a second chance around, you've both got to identify the wrongs of the past. You've got to bury that old junk from the past, and you have to make that commitment towards doing the right things this time around. Even if you have to sit down and make a list of all the things that he said and she said and he did that didn't work, make that list. And then make a new list. She will and he will, and he can and she can. There's no shame in starting over fresh with someone from the past. There's no shame in trying to fix what was broken. That is where the strength is, right? That is where the edification is, because the fact that you can identify what you did wrong and do something about it to improve it and build upon it, that is the key. Whether it's a new relationship, whether it's an old relationship, there is hard work that is required from both parties. One person isn't responsible for everybody's happiness. You both are. So, you have to think of Rastafari as a renewal of life, right? It's a renewal of who you are and what you think and the kind of life that you want to live, coming out of Babylon, coming out of the promiscuity, coming out of violence, coming out of anger, coming out of lewd behavior, coming out of working in jobs or doing things which really do not uplift yourself or uplift society. So it's a renewal, and your marriage has to reflect that renewal. It's a sacred thing. Your relationship is a sacred union, and you must treat it as such. So healing is really important in the liberty. Healing before you come into the relationship, healing during the relationship, it's necessary. You can't, like, some sisters or some women I've seen, they say, well, make a list of the man that you want, and manifest that energy where you're putting it out there that this is your ideal mate, but you yourself have to fulfill the qualities that he is going to want in his woman. So you have to fulfill these things in your own person to attract the person that you want. Whether you're a man or a woman, you have got to be manifesting the same things that you want your partner to give you. And starting a new relationship, that is something that you need to get out there from the jump. I mean, people grow. Yes, we grow. You're not the same. Like, I'm not the same that I was at 21 or 22. Definitely not. I had a lot to learn about being a wife, being a mother, being a Rasta woman, and it was hard. But what made the difference is that we were both willing to try and to fix what was broken and to mature, because I mean, at that age you really don't know how to really be a proper adult. It takes time. So over the years your marriage builds and it strengthens and it grows, because at the end of the day the goals never change. My king man always wanted to have a Rastafari family. He always wanted to have a wife who would share that with him. He always wanted his youths to come up under Rastafari, and that was always what was most important to him. Therefore, he had to work on keeping that. Same thing for me. It was what I realized I wanted, and I had to do my part. And I'm still doing my part and still learning and still growing and still recognizing where I fall short, and I'm still able to communicate with him of where he falls short, and making it known, well, I need more care, I need more help. There is no shame in asking for what you need from your partner. So it's important that in beginning a relationship that you can have that dialogue. You definitely want to be with someone who you can talk to and make your needs known to. What kind of relationship are you looking for? What kind of person are you looking for? You've got to be able to dialogue about that back and forth and make that commitment. Okay? The importance of healing too is that even as you continue to heal yourself, you've got to have someone who shares in that healing with you and who can inspire you to keep going, because it's so easy to fall back into old habits. But being around someone who is the opposite to that, you learn how to behave better and how to think better and how to act better when you're around someone who is good at that, at the things that you lack. That's a great thing. Someone who is not quick to anger, someone who eats idle, who is vegan, who likes healthy foods, will help someone who's struggling with their diet and their liberty to get stronger, to get better. It's as simple as that. Someone who is of a calmer temperament will help someone who has anger issues. You should be with someone, you should be able to be with someone who can really bring out the best parts of you, or bring out the side of you that is the part of you that you want to sustain. So there's no shame in healing, there's no shame in seeking help, but you've just got to know that person that you want to be. You've got to own it. You've got to claim it for yourself. You've got to claim this new life for yourself, and you've got to be positive, and you have to actively work towards building that solid, stable foundation. You're moving into something new together, and it's up to you to really take it seriously. You just want to have someone who you know that you can trust on to take it seriously. Your partner should be someone that inspires you to keep elevating yourself, who appreciates who you are now, and who appreciates who you want to be, and who will support you in your healthy habits and inspire you to keep shining and giving your best self, who will love you as you are, and who will love who you want to be. Someone who can openly share their affection and make you feel cherished and strong on a daily basis. You want that person to be a good caretaker, and this is not just caretaking of the house and the house itself, the garden, that kind of thing, and finances. I'm talking about caretaker of you yourself, because we must remember that it's not just the woman's role to be the caretaker. It is definitely the man's role as well. So the next point is that you should really know this person well enough before you even think about that new house together, a new relationship. You have to really think, well, do we mesh well? Do we actually get along, or do we fight more than we actually get along? Because one thing that I think we all, not all, but many of us jump into the physical side of the relationship very early. And this is something that can actually cloud your judgment, because having good sexual relations doesn't mean that you're actually going to have a good marriage. The physical side cannot make up for all of the other things that you need in a marriage. So it's really important to know, can you actually be around this person on a daily basis? Can you go to bed with them every night and wake up to their face every morning and spend the whole day with them and have children and be around their family, their friends? Can you really see yourself with this person? Do you really know who they are at heart? Are they kind? Are they patient? Are they smart? Are they responsible? You have to know how this person lives their life before you can really decide, yes, this is it for me forever. Because as much as we can grow and as much as we can learn, certain things about a personality don't change, they really don't. And you have to know the instincts of the person that you are with. Okay, so are they good with, as I said, are they good with the finances? Can they budget? Would they put domestic life first over their own needs when it comes to money and socialization? Would they respect your goals and support you moving forward? Will you edify that person? Will they edify you? So you want a relationship that is built on facts, not implications or assumptions. Yes, promises work too, but you don't want empty promises. You want to be sure that that person really is going to do what they say they're going to do. I mean, it's hard to say that because, I mean, it's only with time that you learn and grow, but I still think that we have an intuition, that we have a gut feeling about people from the jump. And you can't let sex muddy what you know your gut is telling you. You will have an idea of what that person is like from the start, and you just can't push the things that you don't like aside just because you enjoy physical relations with this person, right? And if you're having an online relationship, you have to really spend time together in person before you can just assume that everything this person says online is really the truth, okay? Because you don't want to, as a woman, you don't want to find yourself pregnant for someone and then assume that they're going to just do whatever you have in your mind that they should be as a perfect partner and as a perfect parent. It doesn't really work like that, you know. So you have to have a discussion about these things first and really put it into action first and see how things go. Don't let the intimate relationship be the only thing that you base your desires on. So you know, it's the easiest part of a relationship. You know, it starts things off great, but it cannot sustain if other key things are missing. So the other thing is to learn the background of that person before you can really commit yourself, because can you connect with their family? What is their life with their family like? How are they treated by their family? How do they treat their family? Do they get along well? Do you get along well with them? Are there clear boundaries established between your life together and their life together? Because, I mean, many Rastafari are forced to live separate from their families because of difference of opinion and difference of belief. You know, many of our parents don't agree with the way of life, and it can be hard, especially as women. It can be hard because you want to raise your children a certain way, but your mother-in-law or your mother have different opinions on what you should do, and you want to be with someone who's going to support your differences. You want to be sure that as husband and wife, y'all can sustain being one another's support, being one another's strength. And if you're like me, that you live away from your family in another country, you want to be sure that this person is someone who's going to be there at home with you, helping you, and not that everything is on your shoulders. I find that in Rastafari, gender roles is a very big thing, and if you look at the Bible, the gender roles are made clear that, you know, a woman's role is in the house to be meek and mild and quiet and subservient, whereas the man can basically do as he pleases. That is the way it is practiced, even though the scripture doesn't necessarily say that. And it can be damaging. It is very beneficial when a brethren realizes that he has the same work as a woman in the home. So you want to know that about your partner, especially as a woman. You want to know that you're going to be supported by your man and that you will not be left alone in child raising, because it can be hard if you don't have that foundation. And in terms of the family, you know, no woman wants to come between a man and his mother or his family, and no woman can really coexist in the same house as her mother-in-law or mom. You know, when you're starting out, it's good that you can provide your own gates, have your own house to build on, because you know, that's just extra drama. It's not that you don't want the support and the love of parents and family. That's not it. But it's just that you have to be able to have your own space, because Rastafari liberty is so different to how we were raised, unless you come from a Rasta home. You know, it's a big difference, and you don't want someone who's going to interfere with the liberty. So while it's great to have family support, and I do encourage ones to always try to mend fences with the family, and try to approach it in a mature way and just explain what you want your new life to be, and hope that they will understand. What I find really makes a difference is that when your family and your parents see you in a happy relationship and a thriving relationship, that will change how they treat you. I'm not saying this is law, but I think that when your parents see you happy and stable, they can finally respect you, and they can respect your choices. Even though they don't agree with it, respect will be there, and that's a beautiful thing to have. So it's important that you establish your own space, and it's important that even if you don't have that when you start out, that before you have a child, or while you're, like my king man and I, we moved into this house when I was pregnant. So it's important that even if you don't have it in the start, that it's something that you can achieve before you have children, or just as you have children, just to give give them that space and that foundation, and that room to bond from the very beginning. And it's also important to know how that person is with their friends and their social circle. How does a man treat his woman around his friends? How does she treat her man around her friends? Are their friends kind and respectful? Do they treat you welcomingly, and that kind of thing? Does your partner become a totally different person when around others or in public? Are they less admirable to you? Like, do you feel a little less enthralled by that person when you observe them in a social setting? Does your partner stand up for you in difficult situations? Will they listen to you and seek to rectify any grievances that you have? Will they make you comfortable when you feel uncomfortable? So you should always be a team in public and in the home. So it's important to feel that support. So that's basically this first video, where I wanted to reason on Rastafari relationships or marriage. And this is just a few points to consider when you want to be in a relationship with someone, something that is more long term, and something that has a good foundation to start with. So I hope that you will subscribe to Rasta White Flame, our YouTube channel, and follow the blog spot. I'm also on Instagram. Rasta White Flame is the handle. So I look forward to reasoning and sharing with you. Give thanks for following. Give thanks for listening to the reasoning, and I do hope that you will reach out and let me know what you think, how you feel. You can reach me at rastawifeline@gmail.com. You can send me a DM in Rasta Wifeline IG page, and you can also make a comment on the blog spot. So give thanks and stay safe and stay healthy, stay protected, and most of all, stay upful during this pandemic. Jah blessings.